Okay, so unmuted. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for little bit starting little bit late. So today we are going to start Indian financial system. Okay. Just give me a minute. It's important call I have to take. Yeah. So today we are going to start Indian financial system. Okay. So financial system of any country a, is comprised of basically three things: regulators, institutions, and market. Right. Financial institutions like bank, NBFCs. Okay. Regulators like RBI, SEBI, NABARD. Right. Institutions like bank, NBFCs. Right. Financial institutions, other financial institutions. Market, money market, capital market. Right. So, like bank, NBFCs, financial institutions like insurance companies, mutual funds, they come under the category of financial institutions, regulators. So basically, these are the three important part of any country's financial system, right? Broadly divided into three category. So these three are fundamental constituent of a financial system. So basically, just have a basic understanding about the finance or financial, right? Finance means a process of lending and depositing, means in that we are going to see the movement of a money from demand side to supply side, right? So there is a demand side of a money, there is a supply side of a money. So how this money is going to move, in what way it is going to move, we are going to study under the finance, right? Demand side need money, supply side have a capability to provide that money in order to make further gains. Demand side want that money so that they can utilize that money in order to fulfill their requirements and make more money, right? So both sides are intended to be the part of this system in order to fulfill their certain defined objective, right? So they form the institutions and market. And when the money is going to be involved, right? So it is uh, means if the money transactions are going to happen, then there is always a possibility of in need of an adjudicator who is going to make sure that the transactions which are happening there, they must be held on certain predefined terms and conditions, and if there will be any problem, it should be resolved, right? So then this regulators will came into the picture, right? So if you will see all these three institutions are the oldest part, right? Then regulator and market emerged over the time. Institutions like banks are in existence, right, in the different organized way and an organized way, right? Banking institutions means those who are involved in the lending and depositing process. They are there means with the evolution of human society and humans, you will find the bank or bank like institution since ancient ages, and especially after industrial revolution, it start getting organized in the better manner in the European countries, and then proper banks and other financial institutions emerged. With their emergence, the requirement of regulator started, and further development of in the finance that has allowed a development of financial market, right? So in this way they emerged. But when we are going to study, we are going to take the sequence from regulator to institutions to market, right? So that is going to be the sequence of our study, right? In that way we are going to study this financial system, right? So if you will see the regulators, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, is the most important regulator in our country, right? In fact, if you see any country's financial system, you will find central bank is the most important regulator in any country's financial system, right? Whether it is Indian economy or in any country's economy, right? You will find the central bank as a most important institution, right? So why central banks are most important institution, how they work, why they came into the existence. So I'll explain you in the brief regarding the existence of the central bank. Then I'll come to how the RB came into the picture in Indian financial system, right? How RB came into the picture, right? So, humans, right? Start with the humans, right? So, human is a social animal. They prefer to live in the groups and societies. And later on, when these group means initially, will you go to the civilization age, right? Even at the time of civilization, they have made cities, right? And they start living together. And when humans start living together, why? Because they are interdependent for fulfilling their requirements. They are interdependent to each other. So that's why they start living together. And when they started living together in order to fulfill their needs and requirements, they started what? Exchange of the things. So initially, when the requirements are very simple, then even that requirements can be fulfilled through very simple exchange, what we called it as a barter system. Even barter system exists today. Under the barter system, one good is going to be exchanged with the other good, right? So under the barter, we do not need a medium of exchange. Good itself are going to be exchanged with each other, right? So we have started with the barter system. And as humans have very limited knowledge about science and other things, right? So initially they relied only on barter. But gradually, when human ambition were increased and they started expanding their requirements, their ambitions, they found that barter is not going to work every time, and they need something so that it can be used as a exchange. Means they want something with that they can go for purchasing or selling of anything, right? So from barter they started using stones, especially the precious stones which are not available easily. They are colored for beautiful stones, and that stones they started using for the purpose of exchange, right? For the purpose of exchange they have started using some precious stones. Apart from stones, they gradually started using the metal. If you will see the civilization, whether it is the Indus Valley civilization or Mesopotamian civilization, there is little evidence of use of gold and other metal, though they started using the metal, but the gold was not so prevalently used in those civilization, especially in the context of using for what? Using for the purpose of exchange, right? But initially they started using the stones. The limitation of the stone is you cannot give a proper shape and size, right? There is a limitation. After a certain point of time, you cannot give a shape and size according to your will and wish, right? So this is why stones was in use, but they was in use in the limited context. Over the years, humans have discovered a lot of metals, including gold and silver. Right. The best thing with the gold is a soft metal in comparison to any other metal. So easily you can give a shape and size, whatever shape and size you want to give, and it is relatively scarce in comparison to availability is scarce in comparison to any other metal. Right. So that shiny and rare metal like gold and silver, copper were being start they came into the existence, and they were given a proper shape and size, and they were started used as a medium of exchange, right? So in that way, from ancient to medieval ages, we have found that in the different part of the world, different metal, gold, silver, copper, even alloy metals was started being used as a medium of exchange, right? And that medium of exchange is defined as money. So in the other words, money is what? Money is a medium of exchange. What is medium of exchange? That is known as money. So money is defined as metallic coins, gold, silver, copper, right? And alloy metals, they will start in use. Fine. But from ancient to medieval ages, again, the capacity of humans for production was limited by the manual power, right? So most of the production activity is limited to agriculture, and apart from agriculture, cloth, architect, I mean, handicraft, other things were in production. They are limited to with the human capacity, means they are constructed purely by humans and their efforts only. But from the 17th century, 16th and 17th century onwards, with the Renaissance in the Europe, they started using of machines, steam engine, and after the steam engine, a lot of machines were built with having a mechanical power in terms of the steam engine, then electric engine. They started using. The advent of these machines have revolutionized humans' capacity to go for production, right? So the capacity of production increased, number of people involved in the production activity increased. That is why the flow of income getting increased. With this increase in the production, employment and income of a people, then human again find it is a limited ability of this metallic coins to cater the requirement. Metallic coins are there, but humans find that it is getting a little bit difficult to fulfill the requirements, immediate requirements, with the help of these coins, right? So that is why they feel that we need something which is more simple and easy, can be used for the purpose of transaction, right? That was one thing. Another thing is, there are certain people who went further from being as a landlord. हिंदी में जमींदार बोलते हैं ना. So from landlord they become capitalist. So landlords hold land and labor, capitalists hold land, labor, and machines. These machines are capable of generating income. So some people started their business with land, labor, and machines, and they started doing their production activity and they become rich. So a lot of others inspired with their success and they started trying to become a capitalist, right? One kind of the people. And they believe in their capacity. What capacity? Ki I have a labor, I have land, I have machines, I will involve in the production and other related activity, and I am also going to be rich, right? One kind of the people. Other kind of the people, like, they know ki I have something and I want to make it more, right? Like I have 100 gold coins and I want to convert into 150 gold coins. Means I want to increase my wealth, but I am not kind of the person who can go and establish a factory running the production on daily basis. I want to make money, not making such kind of the effort. I'll prefer to use only a brain in comparison to brain plus hard labor, right? No, I do not want to involve in the hard labor. I want to involve myself in the soft labor in order to increase my income and wealth, right? So these people, they know that the capitalists, they need land, they need labor, they need machines, and in order to fulfill that requirement of land, labor, and capital, they need what? Money, right? And we can properly an organized way of lending can give us wealth, right? So we can create a kind of a system of systematic lending and depositing, and with this systematic lending and depositing, we can go for what? We can go for creation of wealth, right? So that is much easier way. Yes, there is a risk involving our wealth in order to make more money. This risk involved, but at the same time dividend is also very high. So let's start that way, work in the organized manner, right? So they started doing that thing, and we call them today as a what? Bank. You know why the term bank is used, right? So I hope you have heard the term river bank. River bank. So what is river bank? River bank हिंदी में बोलते हैं नदी का किनारा और घाट, राइट? सो देयर इज अ रिवर साइड, नदी का किनारा, एंड what? River bank. It is known as a river bank. In Hindi it is called as a ghat, right? Ghat, even in the Sanskrit they are also called as a ghat, right? So ghat and kinara, that is riverside. So why certain places are known as a ghat? Because doesn't matter at what time of year you are going there, right? It doesn't matter at what time of a year you are going to that place, you will definitely find a water. Maybe level is up or down, but you are definitely going to find a river, water in that part of a river. So that's why they are called as a ghat, right? Ghat or bank. So there is a place, doesn't matter whatever the situation and time is, but definitely you are going to get the money at that place, right? So this is why the term, in the financial term, it is used a bank. So basically it's come from the geography. River bank is a place where you are always going to find a water. It doesn't matter at what time of year, summer, winter, rainy season, at what time of year you are going there. Similarly, bank is a place where you are definitely going to find a money. So in that way, the term bank become popular in Europe, and from Europe it came to where? Other parts of the world. Bank become very popular term in every society and country. Right. So in that way, the term bank were popularized. All right. So bank started and they involve in the activity of what? Lending and depositing. Right. Gradually, the rise of capitalism and rapid rise of capitalism was not just limited to in France and Britain, that spread in entire Western Europe. And more demand of lending and depositing start coming. Right. So some innovation happened, and rather than using just a gold coin, right, once you get the credibility, right, once you will get the credibility, people are going to trust your words, right? This is what, suppose if you are going to get selected in this exam, right, NABARD, RBI, UPSC, maybe some people in your family and friend circle, they are not listening your words and thoughts right now, but once you are going to get selected, you have proven yourself. Now your word are going to be right, your words are going to automatically gain a weight, right? So kind of trust you are going to develop. Fine. So similarly, in past in Europe, when this development was going on and the development of banking was going on, certain banks have created a good amount of trust in their own region. They become a name of trust. People trust them, right? And once these banks realized that people trust on our words, right? People trust on our words, they started using this trust for the business purpose. How? So earlier, suppose that they are depositing 10 gold coins and they are offering 11 gold coins in 1 year, right? So one extra gold coin you are going to earn if you are going to deposit how much? 10 gold coins. After 1 year, they are going to give you 11 gold coins, right? So over the years, when they started developing their trust, what they did, they started, they deposited, means they get the deposit of 10 gold coins and they have to offer 11 gold coins to the other person, to the same person after 1 year. Now, the person who is a lender, he reached to the bank have already deposit of 10 gold coins from person A, this is person B, and now bank have a deposit of 10 gold coins and bank have to return 11 gold coins to whom? Person A after 1 year. Lender reached to the bank and he demanded what? 10 gold coins for his financial requirements. Bank agreed and bank say that ki we need how much? We need 13 gold coins after 1 year. So lender agreed, ki, okay, I'll return you 13 gold coins after 1 year, because lender already have this thing calculations in his mind. Ki maybe bank is going to demand 13 gold coins after the end of the borrowing tenure, right? So he have calculation in his mind. Ki once I'll get the 10 coins, I'll put those coins in the production activity in land, labor, and capital, and I'm able to generate how much? 15. Right. So even if I have to give 13 back to whom? Bank, I'm capable of making profit of 2 gold coins. In short, GC gold coins. Right. So in this way, lender have this calculation in his mind. Bank is charging 13 gold coins. Why? Because bank have to return back how much? 11 gold coins to whom? A. And bank is going to get 2 extra gold coins, but maybe 1 gold coin is going to be utilized for maintaining the records, staff, expenditure, each and everything. So bank is also going to make 1 extra gold coin. So in this way, the calculations were going on, business was going on. Now bank did one innovative way. Once they got that 10 gold coins, right, from whom? The depositor. When lender came, Rather than giving the 10 gold coins, bank has issued a note, a proper paper, and on that paper, bank has mentioned that this paper is having the worth of 10 gold coins. This paper is having the worth of 10 gold coins, right? And whosoever will return this paper, right? Whosoever will return this paper to us, we will give 10 gold coins against this paper. Bank has mentioned this thing. So lender said that ki, first of all, you are giving me a paper. I have requested gold coins. What you are giving me a paper, piece of paper. So I'm little bit having this doubt in my mind ki whether the people are going to accept it or not, right? Because people generally accept what? Gold, but you are giving a piece of paper. Bank said that ki, please trust us. We are very trusted name, and if you want, we can divide, we can change this one piece of paper into 10. Having one paper have a worth of one gold coin, we will make 10 papers and we will give it to you. One paper is equivalent to what? Equivalent to worth of 10 gold coins, and you can use this paper for your transactional need. If somebody is going to have a question, tell us ki this is the paper released by us. So he was little bit confused, but he said, okay, I'll try. He went to the market and he started purchasing those things, and against those purchase, he is giving those papers, right? And people saw that, they went to the bank and they realized that yes, bank is ready to exchange that paper and provide the 10 gold coins. So people also find that it is quite easier to hold the paper rather than holding the gold coins, right? So it is more easy to transact with the paper rather than use of what? Gold coins, right? So in that way, the bank note, right? The bank note came into the existence, especially in Europe. So Europe started using the promised paper, proper promised paper, colorful paper. Why colorful paper, colorful ink? In order to provide a distinguished identity which cannot be forged by forgers, right? So that is why a special ink, special kind of paper was start being used, and in that way the institution of bank start growing, right, all over the Europe. So banks were came into the limelight and they become what? They become an engine of growth. They become an engine of growth for entire economy, and the system of bank was started developing in the entire Europe. So banks started emerging. With the emergence of bank, economy was also started growing, right? People are getting job, they are getting money, they are able to fulfill their requirements, right? They are able to fulfill their requirements. In this way, the banking system start growing and growing, right? Banking system starts growing and growing. But with the growth of this system, what is happening in the real time? If you will see from the bird eye perspective, if you will go the bird eye perspective, you will find that the all real wealth, that is metallic coins, they are being accumulated by whom? Banks are accumulating them, and against that physical wealth they are issuing a paper, a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper they are giving their promise, right? So the real accumulation of wealth is with the bank, and entire economic system of a country is using a promise made by the banks. So that must be taken care. Maybe bank is having only 10 gold coins, but bank is going to issue paper worth of 100 gold coins or 1000 gold coins. So that must be regulated, one thing. Another thing is government was feeling that bank were getting more and more powerful day by day, right? And if in that way banks are getting more and more powerful because they are accumulating the real wealth, that is gold, it is going to challenge at some point of time to the legitimacy of a government itself. So this is the another problematic area. Third problematic area, because of mushrooming of banknotes in the system, there is no uniformity, no proper denomination of the notes were used in the banking system. So this was another operational problem. So With this, all these things in the view, government has decided in Europe, government, especially the Netherlands government, the oldest central bank in the world, the Dutch central bank, right? So Riksbank is the oldest central bank in the world. So Riksbank, they that was established by the Dutch government, and they announced that from now these banknotes cannot be issued by any bank, or even if they want to issue banknotes, they can issue, but only the banknotes which are going to be issued by authorized bank, means by the bank which is authorized by the country's government. Only those banknotes are going to be used as a medium of exchange. For person to person lending and depositing, you can use those banknotes. You can use those banknotes. But for the purpose of medium of an exchange, only the notes which is issued by whom? The bank authorized by the government, only those notes are going to be considered as a medium of exchange, right? And to give a distinguished identity, symbols, national symbols like the image of king or queen, or a symbol which can give you the distinct identity, right? Like in Indian currency right now, you will find the Red Fort and other monuments of India. So in that way, you are going to have a unique identity, and it is going to be used as what? As a currency, right? So in that way, banknotes issued by central bank. What is central bank? The bank which is established by the government, or it is recognized by the government as a central bank. Why it is central bank? Because in an economic system there are many banks. There are many banks who are issuing what? Banknotes. Who are issuing banknotes earlier, but now they are not allowed to issue the banknotes. Only one bank, which is established by whom? Which is established by the country's government. Only this is going to be allowed for the purpose of what? For the purpose of issuing the currency. So it is going to have a relation with all these banks, right? All these banks. So these banks can get the note, and that note can be used for the transactional purpose, lending, depositing, and exchange requirement purpose. So this is what the term is defined as what? Central bank. So in that way, central banks came into the existence, followed by other countries. Riksbank started by the Dutch, then Bank of England was established, French central bank was established, German central bank was established. And by default, because they are going to be the only authority, right, to issue the banknotes, and banknotes must be backed by something, right? Must be backed by something, right? So this is why they automatically become a reserve also, right? They also become a source of reserve. So all the reserves of a gold and other precious things are going to be stored at where? Central bank. So by this, the central banks all over the world, they are also by default a main source of reserve in a country, right? Like RBI maintain the foreign reserve. Every bank, every central bank in the world, they maintain the reserve. US Federal Reserve maintain the reserves. All these central banks around the world, they become a monetary authority, means authority which issued the currency, as well as they maintain the reserve. So in that way, the central banks all over the world came into the existence. I hope you got some clarity how the banks and especially the central bank came into the existence. Is it clear? If you have any doubt, please let me know, or just put some comments in the comment box. If it is okay, then I'll proceed further. Okay, all good, fine. So this is the history of central banking all over the world. Now, as we have to appear for RBI, NABARD, SEBI in Indian context, so let's move toward the Indian context, right? So, as I discussed first the rise of banking system, and then I told you about what RBI. In Indian context, story is slightly different. Why story is slightly different? Because India, it was earlier under uh, the larger part of the India under the Mughal Empire. Apart from the Mughal Empire, some regional kings were also there. And then these companies from Europe, they started coming to India and they got the trading rights from the local government. Right. Under the trading rights, they also started developing local forces, right? Local forces in order to protect their interest. And gradually they feel that if they are able to control this territory, they are able to establish their trade monopoly in this territory. So the purpose of Britishers was not like Mughal who came here and they established their empire here, they start living here and they settled here, right? That was the Mughals. Whereas Britishers, when they came, they are having very clear thing in their mind. They are not here for the settlement. They are here for the trade, and the trade can be most beneficial when you are able to do the trade with monopoly, right? So trade monopoly can be established with the help of control on the territory. So in order to control the territory, in order to make a trade monopoly, they have raised the war against the local rulers, and gradually they started grabbing the land and the political system, right? So what the administrative area they have controlled, they called presidency, right? I'm talking about East India Company. Though there were other companies also, but ultimately British East India Company was able to defeat other companies and they started establishing their supremacy here. So I will start with the context of East India Company only. So the territory which is under the control of company, they are known as what? They are known as presidency. Fine. So presidency. So they establish a presidency here and they start doing commerce, trade and commerce in the monopolistic way. Again, when you are going to do the trade and commerce, you are going to have a need of medium of exchange. At that point of time, India was using only metallic coins, right? Metallic coins. So with the local traders, you when if you are going to show some paper which is in the alien language, alien language means the English language which is not a native language, right? In England you are having a paper which is written in the English and you are going to give to the other part of the England, people will accept it, but that paper is not going to be easily accepted by what Indians here, right? So in order to get the raw material, they have to do the certain transactions. They have to hire some local services. Again, they need to give the money. Only then the services will be provided. So this East India Company was forced to use what? East India Company was forced to use only metal, right? But that was quite irritating for them, and that was creating a lot of problem for them. So ultimately, they thought that it will be better if we are going to ask some European banks to establish their banking units here and take local people in confidence and develop that kind of the paper banknote system here also. So they invited a lot of European companies to establish bank in India. And many of the European companies who are running their banks in their Europe, especially in the England and other part of the Europe, they initially get very enthusiastic because they have seen a huge growth, right? How their generation grew in the part of England, France, and other part of the Europe, and they established a big empire of their business. So with that hope, ki, okay, companies are going to be established in India also, industrial revolution will happen, a lot of things are going to happen, and we will make good amount of profit. With that enthusiasm, they came to India. But here the situation and picture was little bit different from the Europe, because European companies are here for the purpose of what? Using this territory for the raw material and end product. No in between. Nothing in between. So maximum exploitation was in strategy. So very soon these European companies who established banks in India, they realized it's not going to work here, and they start moving away from India. So that thing took almost 40-50 years, even more than 50 years. So British who established their a proper significant presence from 1770 onwards, it took almost another 40-50 years for the British East India Company to realize that in India it is not possible. In India, it is not possible to have a other bank to work here. Means having a European bank here and they are going to fulfill the requirement. It is not possible. So we have to step in and we have to start some kind of banking unit ourselves in the India, especially the area where we have our rule and the rule is properly established, right? So this is why in 1806 they established Bank of Calcutta. Bank of Calcutta, a kind of a bank which is going to transact the requirements of East India Company in India. Right. So East India Company at that point of time, 1806, have presidency of Bengal, have a presidency of Madras, presidency of Bombay. Three presidencies were there, and war was going in the Punjab region to establish another presidency. So Britishers was in the position, they know that ki in next 40-50 years there is no such power in India who can overthrow us. So it's a good time to start our permanent financial institutions like banks. So they established a bank in 1806. Finally they realized that ki, okay, that system need more power and it should be established in the proper way. So by 1809 they renamed it and they called it as a Bank of Bengal. First Presidency Bank. So first Presidency Bank, Bank of Bengal, and that Bank of Bengal is going to fulfill all transactional requirement of British East India Company's territory in this region. Any British India territory in this region, their financial requirements, transactional requirement is going to be fulfilled by whom? The Bank of Bengal. So Bank of Bengal is going to issue the banknotes, and that banknotes can be used as a purpose of what? Medium of exchange. In that way, British have went for the first proper step to establish a financial institution in India. So Bank of England, sorry, Bank of Bengal was established as a first presidency bank, and it started working as a, you can say that you can means it started working initially itself as a central bank, also bank as well as central bank, both work is being done by what? Bank of Bengal, right? But as we have seen in the history, East India Company went for more and more expansion, right? Especially under Lord Dalhousie, they went for more and more expansion, and other presidencies like presidency of Madras, presidency of Bombay, they realized that it is getting difficult day by day to transact with the Bank of Bengal, not Bay of Bengal, Bank of Bengal. Why? Because their administrative territory is lie in the south, right? Whereas Bank of Bengal, its administrative structure and most of the important officials are posted where? In the Bengal region. So transacting with them, it is getting administrative inconvenience. So this issue was reported again and again, again and again, and under Lord Cornwallis, he realized that we have to go for decentralization process in India. So under that decentralization process, two more presidency banks were established: Bank of Madras and Bank of Bombay. Right. So Bank of Bombay and Bank of Madras, 1940, 1940, sorry, 1840 and 1843. So these two more presidency banks were established, and they got equivalent power to Bank of Bengal, right? So now there are three banks, and these three banks are going to fulfill the local requirement as well as what the transactional requirement between East India Company and British government also, right? So in that way, they are having the dual role. At a one point of time, they are working as a central bank in India, right? At the same time, they are also working as a commercial bank in India, right? And when the British institutions was starts performing, lot of Indians also realize that yes, now the British are here and they are here for long time, so we can also start our banking system, because gradually Indians also get familiarity of benefits of banking system, right? Initially, when the Europeans came here in 1770s and 1780s, 1790s, they tried to establish their bank with the name of Bank of Hindustan, the Bank of India. They tried to establish, but they failed, right? But from there, from 1806 to 1840, 1850, 1860, that long 60, 70 years of exposure to the Indians and especially the rich Indians, they realize that bank is a beneficial business. Bank is a beneficial business, so we can also start our bank. So especially after revolt of 1857, British realized that we need certain people as a safety wall, so whatever is going on the native Indians mind, we can get those ideas. So they started, British government started to giving some leverage to local powerful people like zamindar, local king, right? Because normal public in India, they consider those people like local king or zamindar as a mai baap, right? So rather than trying to change the opinion or mindset of the common people in India, we are not going to push them directly. We are going to influence the local influential people, and that local influential people can easily change the mindset of the common people. So in that way, they started listening what local people are demanding. Local people means local influential people. So local influential people, they requested ki we also want to establish a bank. So in that way, the banking system started developing in India. That thing I will explain you separately. That thing I will explain you separately. The story start with the bank, Allahabad Bank, and gradually went to the Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, and entire banking system started developing. Right. I'll discuss that thing separately. Here now our focus is what? Central bank. So from 1860 onwards, these three presidency banks, right, and some local banks are also there. So these three presidency banks, now they, what they are doing? First, they are fulfilling the requirements of first East India Company, then British government in India. They are fulfilling their requirement. Second, they are making a transactions through England's banking system, and their central bank, England central bank, was Bank of England. So they are transacting with the Bank of England. They are transacting for the British India government, right? And they are also established their transaction with the local banks in India, like Allahabad Bank, Punjab National Bank, right? In that way, they started developing their business, right? So things were going smoothly till then 1890s. Things were going smoothly till then 1890s. But according to the time, right, by the time is going to pass, lot of developments are going to happen, and people realize that the institution which are functional right now, they need certain changes in order to cope up the upcoming challenges, right? So in 1890s, a commission came to India, and that commission assessed the functioning of the banking system, and they realized that we need a kind of a what? We need a kind of central bank in India. But that recommendation was not having too much pitch, right? that too much pitch was not there, they just give a suggestion ki we can also establish a central bank in India. But that was not having a pitch, a depth, and proper reason and analysis, right? So that is why that was not going to be adhered properly. Fine. So in that way, India entered into the 20th century. Just an idea in the mind ki we can have a central bank. Okay. After the First World War, right, or even the during the First World War, British India realized that ki the Indian banks, Indian commercial banks, they have not supported British government and British system in that way as they are supporting earlier, because of rise of nationalism in the India, right? Nationalism in the India, and local people become more ambitious. They know that ki you are here just for the business, you are not like Mughals and all. So these things be understood by the Britishers also. So they realize that ki now we need a powerful institution. These three banks are not able to do the work in the synchronized manner, the kind of synchronization what we need in 1910 or 1920s, the kind of synchronization in the banking activity we need, these three banks are not able to do it. So we need a kind of a centralized authority. So John Maynard Keynes, I hope you heard this name. If you have not heard, I just brief you. He is considered as one of the most influential economists of 20th century, and he revolutionized the banking system all over the world, finance, governments functioning, right? So he revolutionized the economy, right? So he is the most tallest figure in the subject of economics. So this is the kind of introduction I think is sufficient as of right now for the John Maynard Keynes. So Keynes, it was his earlier day as a Professor Keynes, right? James Keynes. So in his earlier days of this advisor to the British India government and a professor at Oxford University, he was assigned by the British government to just look over the challenges posed by the locals and other things in the Indian financial system and suggest what we should have. So after looking the entire Indian financial system, Keynes say that yes, we need a kind of a central bank. But even Keynes was not very keen. John Maynard Keynes was not very keen to have a proper central bank. He realized that yes, we need a central authority, and that central authority of a bank which can work in the more synchronized manner with the requirements of British East India government, British government in India. But having a central bank which is having a power to establish currency and note, it is not required. It is not required. These banks, under the guidelines of the British government, they are able to do this monetary functions properly. But yes, in order to fulfill the requirement of the government in India, we need a kind of a one bank. Means he emphasized that there is a need of proper government bank, and that government bank can fulfill the monetary requirements. But there is no need of what? Central bank. So this is why he used the term state bank. He didn't use the term central bank in his work. He mentioned the term what? State bank. India need a state bank. Right. So this is what he suggested. Right. India need a state bank. Though his work was came into the picture immediately after the first world war, but at that point of time it was not accepted properly. But very soon, in a year, British India government and British government in England, they realized that we need a kind of central authority, right? So they agreed with that, and they merged all these three banks and they established Imperial Bank of India in year 1921. So Imperial Bank of India was established on The suggestions given by whom? On the suggestions given by whom? John Maynard Keynes, Imperial Bank of India, right? And you know what happened after independence? There is a conflict between Imperial Bank of India and RBI, and finally Imperial Bank realized that we can work under the Reserve Bank of India. So Reserve Bank of India has purchased the ownership of the Imperial Bank of India. So Imperial Bank of India was not purchased by the government of India directly. After independence, Imperial Bank of India agreed to sell its shareholding to the Reserve Bank of India. Right. So just moving off the track means from the RBI, just moving to the other thing, but it is not completely off the track. It is related to your entire uh, what we are studying and understanding. So Imperial Bank of India agreed after tussle with Government of India and RBI itself. Imperial Bank of India agreed that we are ready to come under the ownership of Reserve Bank of India, not to the Government of India. RBI said okay, we are fine. But the problem was कि RBI was an institution. It was not a company. So RBI do not have a power to purchase something as a company, shares of a company. So Government of India has made an amendment in the Reserve Bank of India Act, and by that amendment it allowed Reserve Bank of India to purchase the shareholding of a commercial bank. So Imperial Bank shareholding was purchased by whom? It was purchased by the Reserve Bank of India. And once the Reserve Bank of India got the majority shares of the Imperial Bank of India, they changed the name. They changed the name. And that change of a name, a kind of a tribute to what? J.M. Keynes. A kind of tribute to whom? J.M. Keynes. Because that was a time of 1950s and 60s. That was a top of whom? Keynes. Keynes was means one of the most popular name in entire finance and economy. He was 1950s. I tell you, in 1950s he was advisor to almost 50 government at that point of time, including Indian government, including Indian government. So he was a kind of a person, if he is going to arrive in India, on the very next day of his arrival or the same day of his arrival, his meeting is supposed to be scheduled with the Prime Minister. So that was a kind of aura of John Maynard Keynes in the 1950s. So that's why the kind of the tribute was given, and when the name was changed, it became what? State Bank of India. Right. So that term state bank was first time used by whom? Keynes. Right. Though people here can use this term in their own way, ki states bank, Indian state bank, bank of all the states, that is fine. But Keynes used in other contexts, a bank for the government. That's why he used the term state bank. Because in the political science or in the domain of polity, state is more comprehensive term in comparison to nation, right? So Indian state, right? So State Bank of India came to the picture, right? So this is all about the State Bank of India. Come back to our original track, and we are was in 1921, and in 1921 Imperial Bank of India was established. With the establishment of Imperial Bank of India, it was assigned for function of bankers bank, bank to the government, right, and also a commercial bank. Fine. But in India, currency management was with whom? The currency management was again with whom? Government. How much have to be printed? To what quantity have to be printed? How it is going to be managed? It was done by whom? Government. Right. And it got to convert it into SBI. Darshika Singh, yes, SBI. Right. So in that way, government started functioning as what? Government was functioning as an effective currency manager in India. Right. But the financial crisis during uh, 1920th decade, second decade of 20th century, from 1921 to 1928, that was one of the most troubling phase till then date for global financial system. From 1921 onwards, with the very establishment of the Imperial Bank of India, that was one of the most troubling phase. And in that phase, what happened at a point of time, right, somewhere around 1923, 1924, Indian rupee was backed by silver. British made this thing very clear that Indian rupee will be backed by silver, whereas the British pound is backed by gold. In 1922, 1923, situation was like that. The price of gold and price of silver was about to equal, right? So that has created lot of problem, especially for the Britishers and especially for British India, right? So government have to step in and solve this problem, but British India government failed miserably. They failed. They are not able to control the financial system in India. Then British government realized that the currency function now in India, it must. Why gold and silver price was about to equal at that point of time, that is a different story, and it is going to take a lot of time. So I'm not going to discuss here. Just giving you the glimpse that situation arrived, right? And because of that, Indian financial system was on the verge of collapse, right? Verge of collapse in what sense? Means not like Sri Lanka like problem today. Exactly opposite. Means it is like one Indian rupee is going to equal to the one US dollar. Just imagine one US dollar is going to be equal to one Indian rupee, right? Then everyone is going to have an iPhone first, right? Tesla is going to be like that ki yaar, I have gifted Tesla. Like people are going to say in upcoming Raksha Bandhan and Deepavali, if it is going to happen, ki uh, I'll not give the money this time. I'm going to give as a Rakhi gift to all of my sisters as an iPhone, right? iPhone. And in the Deepavali, people are not going to exchange the sweets, right? Or son papdi. They are going to exchange what? They are going to exchange like iPhones, uh, iPod, all those US made luxuries which always Indians dream about to purchase it. They are going to use that thing, because if $1 is going to be one rupee, it is going to be what? It is going to be like dream comes like true, na? So just imagine and put yourself in the same kind of the situation in 1923, 1924. That was almost like a situation, almost not equal but almost same situation, right? So this was showing a big failure of government of India, British India government. And then in 1925, it is decided ki enough is enough. We are going to have a proper commission to what should be the structure of central bank in India. Though they have sent a commission whether the central bank is required or not, but this time they are very determined that we need a central bank and independent monetary authority which can manage the Indian banking system, right? Which can manage the Indian banking system, especially the currency management. We need that kind of the authority, right? But what should be the structure? What are the other modalities of there? That should be discussed. So Hilton and Young, also known as Royal Commission on Currency and Finance, that came to India, and they suggested that India need a kind of central bank with enough reserve. India need a central bank with enough reserve in order to tackle any problem, right? So that is why it should be a kind of joint stock company. Joint stock company means reserve should be created by all stakeholders, and they, like today we have an IMF. Now, how the IMF established? So in the establishment of IMF, all the member countries has contributed with the fund. So similarly, on that line in India, RB was proposed on a similar line, right? So that is why RBI have 21 board of directors, right? 21 board of directors. Lot of things change after independence, but at the time of its inception, right, at the time of its inception, lot of board of directors were there. They are coming from the different industries, banks and all. Even today, the 10 directors of whom? Reserve Bank of India. They are appointed by the government of India. They are coming from the different field. Fine. So in that way, there should be a bank which is going to have a good reserve, right? And it can work as a cushion for the government in the requirement time, as well as requirement for the financial system. So this is why the prefix should be what? The prefix should be Reserve Bank for Central Bank in India. So Reserve Bank was set. Means prefix is set for the name upcoming central bank in India, Reserve Bank. So Reserve Bank of India, right? And reserve was at that point of time of 50 crores. That point of time, 1935. So 1935, Reserve Bank of India was established with the reserve of 50 crores. So at that point of time, 50 crores. So in today's time it is like 50 billion, right? 50 billion, even more than 50 billion, right? So in that way the Reserve Bank of India was established, right? And Reserve Bank of India was given a power to manage the currency in India from its inception. So in other part of the world, right, the evolution happened and then central bank came into the picture. In India, right, central bank has just transformed, right, transformed itself. Central banking was transformed properly. It was not evolution, it was a transformation to a central banking. So in that way, after the recommendation of Hilton and Commission, on 1st of January 1935, Reserve Bank of India was established at Kolkata. Its headquarters was Kolkata. But in 1937, proper building was constructed in Mumbai, and then the headquarters was shifted to where? Mumbai. And since then, the permanent headquarters of Reserve Bank of India is at Mumbai. 1st January 1935, that was established. Right. So date, maybe I sometimes I make mistakes while telling you the date during the discussion, but you can see that right now I'm focusing to let you know what happened actually rather than focusing on the exact date. Maybe some here and there will be there. Please forgive me for that mistake. Right. So in that way, Reserve Bank of India again came into the picture, and with establishment of the Reserve Bank of India, it started working in a very well manner. After independence, more of the work of the Imperial Bank of India was given to what? RBI. So RBI started working in 1935, and by 1947, Government of India was very clear that the Reserve Bank of India, first of all, nationalize the Reserve Bank of India. It should be nationalized. It should be owned by the government only, not other stakeholders. So Reserve Bank of India was nationalized in 1949. And by the same time, government through a legislation, means Government of India also passed the Banking Regulation Act. So Reserve Bank of India Nationalization Act and Banking Regulation Act both were passed, and all the powers which was earlier with Imperial Bank of India, that was given to Reserve Bank of India. So by 1949, Imperial Bank was just a commercial bank like any other commercial bank, whereas Reserve Bank of India after independence gained more power and authority over the Indian financial system. So in this way, Reserve Bank of India came to the picture. Okay, now the question. I was expecting this question: if rupee is going to equal to dollar, what is going to be the impact on our financial system? Sir, if rupee kind of equal to the dollar at that time, so was not that goof things for the Indian financial system? No, absolutely not. In fact, at that point of time, rupee and dollar was almost equal. Rupee and dollar was almost equal. Pound was having more value in comparison to the Indian rupee, right? It was almost equal. You can check in the history, you will find that the value was not too much different. I will explain. Don't worry. When I'll explain the exchange rate system, I'll explain what will be the implication on the financial system if 1 rupee is going to equal to $1. RBI will not allow. In today's time, RBI will not allow rupee going below to 76. RBI will not allow. RBI is comfortable till then. Rupee is going to strong. From 80, it is weak. 79, it is weak. 78, it is weak. 77, it's good. It's fine. 76, it's again okay. But in today's context, if rupee is going to get more strong in today's situation, means it is going to breach the 76 mark, means it is going to move 75.50, RBI will not allow. I will explain, don't worry, I will explain. Try to learn step by step. I will explain, don't jump right now, I will explain. Hungry battlers, I think now we are dependent on other countries' exports. That's why rupee is depreciating. Yes, that is also one fact, but that is not only fact. There are a lot of things we will discuss. Yes, for more investment opportunities, rupee was needed to be depreciated as people preferred the cheap rate at the time too. Okay, that investment will be temporary. See, I'll request you, you can go for this peer to peer discussion, but if you do not know, especially in the financial domain, if you do not know things in total, at least the all basic fundamental, you should not speculate the things, otherwise you will end in the very bad or wrong knowledge, which is going to completely shake out of your old knowledge, right? So this is why I'll humbly request you to refrain yourself right now from discussing those things, right? I will discuss the exchange system. Then you will automatically realize, under the balance of payment, you will automatically realize ki what is good and what is needed, what is required right now, what will be required in the coming future, and what was requirement of that point of time to maintain $1 is equal to 1 rupee. You will get this understanding, right? Like, I hope you got this understanding why central bank and how it established all these things. You have got this thing, so you will get this thing also. Just have a patience. See, I'm a kind of person, I just want to establish layer by layer, layer by layer. So maybe at a point of time when the layers are being built, you may not able to enjoy, but once the layers are going to be completed, then you will realize that you got something which is going to give you knowledge, understanding, as well as pleasure of knowledge. Sometimes knowledge is like we have to acquire the knowledge and we have to go with that knowledge in examination hall and perform and get the desired result, which can be shown in the society, right? But sometimes knowledge is like okay, I got that recognition of the society, but at the same time I also happy to acquire that knowledge. So I believe in that thing, to provide both, get the selection and give the kind of pleasure of knowledge, so that make you happy. Okay, so today, just give you a brief about how the financial system evolve, especially RBI establish. Tomorrow, I will discuss the functions of Reserve Bank of India one by one. Many things. Means first I'll discuss with the monetary policy, then I'll discuss the rest of the thing, and at the end of that discussion of the functions of Reserve Bank of India, I'll take the balance of payment system also. And in that balance of payment system, exchange rate, how it's work, what is right thing, even you can imagine what RBI is supposed to do next. Once you will see the situation, then you will automatically get an perception ki this is supposed to be the action taken by the Reserve Bank of India. And you are thinking ki RBI is going to do this very soon, and next day you are going to open the newspaper and you saw RBI exactly did what you was thinking and discussing. This is what the pleasure, what I am talking about. So you will reach to that level. No kind of the rocket science is there, some basic fundamentals you have to understand and you will get that idea, right? So just have a patience, keep learning, right? And tomorrow I'll start with the functions of Reserve Bank of India, especially the monetary policy function, right? So should I wind up the session? Any other question? Okay then. So I'm winding up the session. See you tomorrow, 8:30. And again, sorry for getting late today. Tomorrow I'll start at the right time. Okay. Thank you.